And welcome back to ABC 7 Extra Sunday. I'm Mark Ross, and joining me now, ABC 7 Good Morning El Paso anchor Hillary Florin, who also happens to be our Be Mindful reporter. Hillary, first of all, tell us about ABC 7's commitment to mental health.
It is a big commitment. Our Be Mindful initiative is very powerful. Most of our normal watchers, our viewers, are familiar with it because we try to bring a lot of stories to light. But the main issue is to educate and really empower and get the conversation started. We want to erase the stigma, as a lot of your previous guests have stated.
Yeah, that's the big thing, getting rid of the stigma that's attached to mental health and mental health issues.
Imagine you're going through something and you just feel so isolated and so alone, and you're watching TV and you see, oh my goodness, there are a lot of people just like me who are going through similar issues, and there's a way I can get help.
Exactly. Now, all this month, we have a number of mental health stories scheduled. Talk about some of those.
We have a plethora. I brought my reporter's notebook here because I'm not the only one working on this. There are all of our reporters. We've really assembled the masses, and we've all come up with ideas, things that are important to us. Also important to note before we get to the story idea that there are also PSAs. We're working with a lot of our advertisers and just different agencies here in town. And I know that a lot of our reporters have come up with their own ideas, so it's things that they're passionate about too.
All right, so give us an example of what folks can expect to see during the month of May.
Where to start? Okay, well, really the goal is to have something for everyone, because it knows no age different. And you know, this is kids to adults. We want everyone to be mentally well and have something that would be relevant to what they're going through. So we're starting with postpartum moms. I know Rosemary Montañez is working on a story right now. A lot of women, after you have a baby, you can feel isolated at home, or maybe your child's a few years old and you just need a way to reconnect. And she's speaking with some special moms who have a way to deal with that, and they're getting together so they could be hooked up with this new resource that she's going to provide them. All right, ready for the list?
Ready for the list.
Okay, so teens feeling lonely out there, there are places they can turn for help. And one interesting story is parents wondering, is my child normal for having these temper tantrums, or at what point do I need to get help? So this was a story that was proposed to me and someone sent me the information, but then in doing the story, I realized that that's part of the problem, thinking, do I need to wait until there's a problem to get help? Because you don't have to wait until there's a problem. You can seek help anytime, and in fact being proactive, as you heard from one of your previous guests, is really important.
Right.
All right, you ready for more?
Ready for more.
All right, I got to hang out with some horses. Would you believe people in town are doing horse yoga?
Horse yoga?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to go on this story this week.
I've heard of goat yoga and cat yoga and dog yoga, but not horse
Puppy yoga. But yeah, I'll stay clear of the horse, but that is a topic that's coming up. Another one that is really interesting is intrusive thoughts. Have you ever had intrusive thoughts?
Every once in a while.
There are a lot of, and some of them can be really dark, and then some of them can just be weird, like, why am I having these intrusive thoughts, or why am I having these fears, and how can I overcome them? So I spoke with a therapist about that earlier this week, so I'm working on that story too. Of course, depression, always a problem for a lot of different age groups, knows no age boundaries. Also PTSD. And we're looking at how veterans are getting help here in the borderland. And another thing that I've since learned since I started being the Be Mindful reporter is about breathing exercises, because it's kind of one of those things that people just throw around, like, oh, well, do your breathing exercises and you'll be fine. I did a story on flying in planes and anxiety, and someone I was interviewing said, well, just do your breathing exercises, but if someone told you, would you know what your breathing exercises are?
Wouldn't have any idea.
Exactly. So I'm speaking with a therapist, Tracy Presley, here in town, and she's going to actually show us during the newscast, it's really quick, how to do those breathing exercises that can really be helpful. You're going in to have a meeting with our boss, Brenda DeAndeswan, and you're nervous. You can do these simple breathing exercises and just get yourself back to feeling normal and ready to conquer.
Is meditation kind of along that same line as a way to help with your mental health?
I think it certainly could be. Obviously, I'm not a doctor here and I'm learning too, but yes, being in control of how you're feeling. Like being interviewed by you makes me nervous right now. I could have used some breathing exercises.
I had no idea.
Mark Ross is interviewing me. Another thing that's important to note is not everybody is going through something right now. So you might be feeling just fine, but you're watching this and it resonates with you and you think, I know somebody who might be able to use that information. And then you can pass along the information that you hear, maybe as part of our Be Mindful reports, and that can help someone else that you know.
All right. What other topics are coming up during May?
Well, I have a few more. I'm interviewing a woman who is a therapist who just recently wrote a book. It's for couples. and keeping the spark alive. And we all have our different communication styles and how to really connect with someone. We grow, and we've been married for a couple of years. Well, you and I have anyway.
Right.
But you, or you don't even necessarily have to be married for these things to help you out in your everyday life. But learning how to communicate and learning different people's styles of communication and what matters to them. Another interesting story is training top athletes and how to get people to tap into their potential and be their best version of themselves, whether they're an athlete or not. But I find it interesting that this particular therapist they're doing a story on, not my story, but someone else's, it's Adrian Ochoa's. You know, how do you get people to have their peak performance?
And it's all mental for the most part,
yeah,
besides being physical.
Wouldn't that be great if we could all use our brains to their full power and potential?
That would be.
I think I'd be a little better at a lot of things.
Hillary, thank you so much.
Thanks
We're
for
looking
having
forward
me.
to seeing all of these different stories.
Thank you.
And of course, you'll find them on our Be Mindful page after they air. The Be Mindful page, of course, at kvia.com. Thank you for joining us tonight for ABC 7 Extra Sunday. I'm Mark Ross. Stay safe, stay strong. I'll see you next Sunday night.